Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTubers. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. I did a series. I've been doing a series, on cold weather survival. And one of the things that is very important in cold weather is personal hygiene and sanitation. So, kind of goes without saying. It's important all the time. In cold weather, it's much more difficult. For instance, the last 3 years running, I have, first 2 years by necessity. Actually, this last year kind of was necessary. I like to shower in the evening. And I was showering outside with ice cold well water right up until Thanksgiving for 3 years now. This year was just because it was convenient. I didn't want to wake Jersey up, so I just shower outside. Just get wet. It's just something that's refreshing. It's like when you touch water coming out of a bathtub, kitchen faucet, shower head, especially if you just wet your face down. But the water is connected to ground. Lightning hits water pipes, bam, it's grounded. So I was wondering if my grounding system was really working well. I'd ran it out this old stovepipe hole and put a stake in the ground, a stainless steel tent stake about that far. And I had a negative ionizer running. Pow! Yeah, it's grounded. The negative ions, it's very high voltage. It didn't hurt that bad. It just gets your attention. It'll wake a man up in the morning, boy. That'll wake a man up in the morning, boy. Probably 50,000 volts, but it's like a very low amp. The little things, if it's dark, you can see them glowing, two little glowing eyes, It's almost like a living entity. So anyway, it's, and very, oh my gosh, negative ions. The negative electricity is very soothing, and I like to shower before sleeping. And I know it's a little bit of a bunny trail, but the negative ions the other night, I needed to go to sleep. I was like, it was actually 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe 7. I knew I needed to sleep more, or because I needed to go out in the cold and do wood. And I thought, negative ions are supposed to, help you. I knew that. Anyway, I put that by my nose and just started, I was out. And I would wake up, go to the bathroom, out. Like 3 or 4 times. I think I could have slept all day long. I was very tired, very exhausted, very drained energy-wise. I woke up one day and I was like, yeah, I slept 8 hours or so, but I really would like to go back to sleep and sleep another 8 hours, so just tired. So waking up in the middle of the night and needing to go to the bathroom, which is the subject of this talk, and I want to get it done and stop money trailing. So it's difficult. If you're in a very cold environment, you're trying to preserve your body core temperature. You're trying to preserve your hydration. You don't need to be burning up excess calories shivering because you're pushing the limits of your body core temperature to preserve your life. And shivering is an indication that you're going into hypothermia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Your teeth clattering. Tonight, I went over to feed the dogs and the goats, and the farm dog, Jada, came out, and her teeth were loud. Just clattering. A little bit faster than that. I don't want to go that fast, but wow, almost snapping. And I was like, run around, girl. She's got a big, heavy coat, and she can go in the barn with the hay. And so I think she was hungry. John said he just fed her. Anyway, so hydration is important. So do you want to get up? You're in a tent. It's 32 degrees out. Let's say it's 0. let's say it's 10 degrees below zero, 20 degrees, 30 degrees below zero. Do you really need to get up and go unzip the tent, which you might not be able to do because it's frozen or whatever? It's not necessary. I mean, think outside the box. In this case, think inside the tent, think inside the camper. And sometimes in order to think outside the box, you have to think inside the box. Do that. Figures out some other alternative than being stupid. You know, as Forrest Gump said, stupid is as stupid does. So, before we got married, I was at a sportsman show in Denver. Just a quick recap. I fell in love with two things at that show. It was very providential. I went. Blue Star Canvas from Missoula, Montana was there, and they had two big portfolios of teepees. And the one 100 miles north of the Arctic Circle on a 3-foot build, 3-foot deck, concrete block and earth-filled deck. Guy said he would not live in anything else at that climate and at that altitude and at that place on Earth, 100 miles north of the Arctic Circle, than a teepee. The other thing was the outfitter stove that I'm heating with. Fell in love with it. I looked at that thing, I remember, like for 5 minutes and locked it into my brain that this was the perfect survivalist stove. This was about 1980. It's when I first started being a prepper. I had a picture burned into my brain of a bunch of tents in a pasture about 100 yards away, and all different sizes, all different shapes. Nobody was walking around. There was no smoke, no dogs, no cats, nothing moving. Just boom, tents. About 50 to 100, maybe 150 feet of tents. I knew that those people were refugees, and if I did not help them, they would die. I started doing things to help them. Haven't seen it yet, hasn't happened yet, may never happen, probably will. And so I fell in love with that stove, and I fell in love with teepees. So years later, I made up a song. This friend of ours went to a thing. He was gonna redo his voice lessons and go to Vegas and make millions of dollars for the Patriot movement. And he had a really good voice. Roger Whittaker tried to recruit him after World War II because he could sing, and he did. He sang Bing Crosby. He did Jim Reeves, Four Walls. He did Frank Sinatra. He could do them. He could do the same song by different guys, and you could hear their voice difference. He was very, very good. Well, there's one song. It was Don't Fence Me In. Don't fence me in. I think it was Jim Reeves that sang it. But so I made up a song, Gonna live in my old teepee, go outside to pee-pee, don't fence me in. I wanted to be free, and in order to be free, I had two teepees that I had. The only time I've received any money in my life, an inheritance from an aunt and uncle that passed away. And I had two teepees built, figuring that it's shelter. This is critical. People don't understand the number one rule of survival is shelter. Okay? You got 3 hours to find shelter. You got 3 days to find water. You got 3 weeks to find food. You're not worried about food. Oh, I need to have pizza. I need to eat. No. You need shelter. Okay, so I got shelter. If I needed to go up in the mountains in the Rockies and survive, that was the plan at the time. Oh, man proposes and Yahweh disposes. The best laid plans of mice and men gang oft agley. Go off astray. So I fell in love with teepees, fell in love with that stove, and so then composting toilets came along, maybe, and just the idea that I started singing, a piece of vinyl tubing, a piece of garden hose buried in the ground with the funnel, We used a composting toilet for a whole year in the Cobb house that we lived in. So that's probably when I started changing my tune, because I remember, and there were two sets of teepee poles there. I arrived with 2 teepees, no poles. I get there, there's 2 sets of poles for teepees, and they gave them to me. So they rotted away over the years, but anyway, so I started to change. I changed my tune. I evolved. I grew up. I matured. I changed my tune. Gonna live in my old teepee, stay inside the peepee, don't fence me in. Okay, so my friend Bill has been delivering school buses for bunches of years. And this, ladies and gentlemen, men, this is a urinal. They got a big hole. Some of them have widow holes, some of them have bigger holes. Some of them have really big holes, just in case you need it, but that's big enough. Now, woman and her FUD, female urinary device, or STP, stand to pee, or kneel, boom, or get a real urinal. But these are cheap. The soap sells for $1, and I try to have nobody. I see people throw these away, and I'm like, don't throw those away. I should have about 40 or 50 of them, and I always look around, and I can't ever find that many of them. I had a whole string of them. I mean, 20 of them on a wire. Oh, well. Now, do I want to get out of the sleeping bag when it's 20 degrees? 0 degrees? In the trailer, it's, like I said, it's 80, 70, 60, 40, 50, 40, 30. So, coffee cup. It's just about the right height, laying on your side. And then, and I've been dumping coffee grounds in here, so it used to be real clean, but anyway, old coffee can, inside of a pail, dump, until it fills up, and it's also convenient for drowning mice. Anyway, I have these check-in motel traps that this back slides up, you put peanut butter on it, you stick it down, put a tab on the little trip thing. The door, you just open the door, it clicks down, clicks to this thing. They come in. As long as they're on here, that's holding it down. The second they step off of that, door shuts. So, and I was very nice, and I brought one out. I figured, fair game. I brought one down here to the cabin and called the cats over, and they all turned their noses up at it. And one cat came right over by it. I turned it loose, and the mouse got away, so probably went right back to the trailer. So that's not going to happen anymore. They will be executed. We will terminate with extreme prejudice. So, drowning, stomping, smacking. And the flip traps, they're okay. I got 2 in one night with those. It's cold weather, they get in, the trailer has holes, and, such is life. A good cat around there would be nice. But the cats all hang out by the cabin because they're well fed. So, anyway, so an FUD female, at least you don't have to go outside the tent. If you got a kneel, squat, whatever, that laundry thing or the bucket or whatever would still work. Don't go outside and get cold. So, I would never get out of the sleeping bag or the bed. Just because it's a matter of survival. I mean, I have been very close to the edge of maintaining body core. You get up and go outside, I would have been dead years and years and years and years and years ago. You would not be listening to me. So, there's tent, sleeping bags, female urinary device, bucket. Dehydration. Yeah, there's a good one. Cardio class. There's an old boy there, and I mean, he looked like rawhide. He looked at sun-bleached desert, shrinky skin, prune faced. And I said, man, are you a little bit dehydrated? Oh, yeah, I am. I said, well, you're killing yourself. Well, yeah, but I don't want to have to get up tonight to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, so... bucket, bottle, something. Use it. Drink water. Drink water. You gotta drink water. Your body is 2 oceans of water. The human being is a conspiracy by water to go bipedal. In other words, it's a water walking around. We are 2 oceans. The oceans inside of ourselves and the oceans, the interstitial fluid outside of ourselves. Look it up. We are, by molecular count, 99% water. By volume, between whether you're newborn, 75%, male, female, 50%, male, 40%, age and everything changes. But by molecular count, because the water molecule is the smallest water molecule basically in the body, we're 99% water. So get Gerald Pollack's book, The 4th Phase of Water. Look at it anyway. Listen to him on YouTube. He's got some TED Talks and Electric Universe stuff. Electric Universe Model 4, and he has like a 2-hour presentation on there. The 4th phase of water. One of the most earth-shattering books written in a long time. Water is not just ice, liquid, and vapor steam. It's structured water. I had 2 identical bottles. They were core water bottles. One, I guess I had tap water, but I had written tap on it. The other one, right next to it, they were sitting outside in the quad all night long. One was frozen solid, the other one was not frozen at all. Very weird. Structured water is more alive. I don't know. Very, very strange. I'd like to duplicate that. And tap. Bad. Tap. All right. That's it. Good night.